Hi there, and welcome to the Shoo Rayner drawing channel on YouTube. And today I'm going to show you how to make this card and this envelope for your mother on Mother's Day. But let's not talk about it. Let's do it. Well, I'm going to make my mother a Mother's Day card, and I've got this is a ready-made one. It's actually got a fold down the middle. But if you just cut out a piece of paper and kind of fold it and try and make it fit an envelope. If you find envelope, find an envelope and make sure that it fits first, so that you can get the design in properly. And actually, I'm going to zoom in a little bit here so we can get a bit closer in on the design. And what I'm going to do is that's the middle, that's the fold there. So I'm going to start about there, and I'm going to draw a heart like that, because you love your mum, don't you? And if you don't love your mum, maybe you love your mom, because I'm doing this. It's actually Mother's Day this Sunday coming in the United Kingdom, where I live in Great Britain, and we say mum here. Actually, in some places they say ma'am, but I know in the States and other places people say mom. So I'm going to do another video exactly the same with mom. So click here if you want to see the mom one, and this is the one you come to. Okay, so these are little circles. So this is what you want to do to kind of plan it out. And what you're going to do, these are all going to be daisies. Okay, and you can do that very roughly. And when you're doing this, press really, really lightly on your pencil. Don't press hard, because you're going to erase the pencil lines later. And well, unless you're doing it differently, but if you want to erase the pencil lines, draw very, very lightly. It makes it easier to erase later. And what I thought was, we'll make mum a little bit smiley. So put a curve like that and a curve like that. And we want to have M, U. I'm going to do lowercase, I think, so like that and like that and like that. So that's fairly simple, like that. So down one, curve and curve like that. And then put little blobs on the tops there like that, and there and there, and on the bottom of the M's there. The U wants to come a bit lower than the bottom of the M's. Okay, so make that a bit lower. That would be a thin stroke. That will be a thick stroke. That'll be thin, and that'll be thick again. Yeah, and again, you want the U to be thinner at the bottom and thicker on the sides, and here again, thicker on the sides and thin on the top. So now I'm going to ink it all in, and I might just speed up this bit. So if you just take your time and draw these petals in like that, and then you might want to put a little flick out from the center into each petal like that as well. Come to the next one and then draw them, and then kind of hide the petals behind the first one that you drew. And that will kind of give it a bit of 3D business. And flick, 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 flick. I'm going to speed through the rest here. Okay, so that's got the frame of the flowers up, and I think I'm going to actually bring the mum up more up to there. And as you can see, I mean, I've had a lot of practice doing this kind of thing, so so bring so that's a thin stroke, and then down a bit thicker, and then nice little blobs on the end, which is just going to, so this is a thick stroke, and that would be a thin stroke. So we have a kind of blobby tops on the on the tops of these letters. The blobby bits are actually called serifs, but I'm just making them very blobby. And bring that around to there like that, and then that will come to there and up like that, and that kind of fits in. And now you can just wait your time or whatever, but I'm making sure that the ink is dry, so I'm going to hair dry it. If you watch my videos, you know I do this quite a lot, but it's just I want to know that it's dry before I erase the pencil lines, because there's nothing worse than smudging ink all over the hard work you've just done, and then you have to start all over again. So make sure it's absolutely dry. You know, leave it for 10 minutes or something like that. I'm using this pen here. People keep asking me. I'm using a Rotring Tikky Graphic. There's a pigmented ink and it dries really quickly, but you can't be too sure that it's completely dry. Sometimes there's a little blob or something. And the other thing about this is it's waterproof. So I'm now going to watercolor this. I'm going to paint it with watercolor. If you haven't got a waterproof ink, then it might bleed. So I mean, you can use crayons, you can use anything you like, but I'm just going to be using watercolor because I like using watercolor. I'm going to start off by painting all these centers in yellow. So these are going to be daisies. Fill it in. As I say, you can do this in crayon, you can do it whatever style you like. Don't do it in oil paints because it might not dry in time for Mother's Day, which wouldn't be good, would it? It would get all smeared in the card. Get something that dries reasonably quick. Do it in something that dries before Mother's Day. That's the secret. And I'm just gonna add some extra bits in there just to give it a kind of hint of 3D, just on kind of one side like that. While it's wet, then it kind of bleeds into the colours like that. That's good. And then now I'm going to dry that again. You can wait for it to dry if you like. Now the thing about the white daisies aren't going to stand out like that, you see, on their own. So what you really need is to put something behind them. And so I'm going to get some blue, very pale. I'm not going to overdo it, but I'm just going to put some kind of blue in the background like that, behind the daisies, just to make them stand out that little bit more. He says, going over the paint. Oh, my cat has started scratching in the background. I think she wants to be let out. Hang on a minute. There you go, come on. Oh, I'm back. And I must always remember not to have a cat in the studio while I'm doing a video. And you can turn this around to make it easier as well. What you might like to do is, if you wet the brush, clear the paint off it, then you can kind of make it fade a bit like that, just by adding water and just kind of fading it into the background, and carry on with this. Oh, need a bit more, it's gone a bit pale. Oops, I'm off the camera. Here we are, I'm back again. And just kind of just fill it in around behind, and it'll just make the daisies sort of pop out a bit more like that. And again, clean the brush and just kind of go around the edge, and that will just fade it a bit into the background. And then what I'm doing is I'm not using black. I'm using a shade called neutral tint. You can use a dark blue or something, but don't use black. Black just makes watercolor look really dirty. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these in here. So this is kind of like a shadow. So I'm going to put these. I'm assuming the sun is shining on that side. Okay, so I'm kind of putting shadow on kind of this side of the petals, so it makes them kind of stand out off the page a bit more. Okay, and then I'm just going to put a little bit of shadow on the sides of the lettering as well, like that, just on each side, and underneath like that, and curl around there, and that will give it some 3D effect as well, and kind of make it pop off the page a little bit like that. And there you go, there's your nice and easy Mother's Day card. So there we have it, and now I've got an envelope here. I'll show you a kind of a different thing that you can do here. So again, very, very lightly draw a couple of lines like that, and I'm going to do this in kind of italic-y kind of thing like that. So make the letters lean over like that, and I'm just going to paint straight over this. I'm going to do this in pink again. I'm going to paint over the top of that, and then I'm going to erase afterwards. See what kind of a mess we can make from that. So what you want is we want a nice kind of a blob there. It must be quite thin here, going up to there, and then this will be thicker coming down there, and then you want that thin going up there again, and thicker coming down here to a blob, and then you want to flick up there and kind of thin as you come around the corner, flick up there, and again similar kind of shape, flick up there, and then flick around like that. A lot of flicking going on like that, and then maybe something like that, a little bit extra, and back to the hairdryer. Okay, that's nice and dry. So now I can erase the pencil lines, and you're going to get some pencil lines kind of hidden in the paint there, but I don't think that matters too much. It's the thought that counts. And again, I'm going to use this neutral tint, which is not black. Okay, so it's kind of a dark blue, bluey grey. And I'm going to do that, and then come up on the other side like that. I'm not drawing, I'm doing this shadow so it's just set off slightly to one side of the pink. It's kind of an offset shadow, I think is the technical term for it. And it just kind of makes it a bit more interesting. But if it really confuses you how to do it, then you don't have to. Okay, so there we go. There's the envelope, there's the card, and I hope your mum loves you forever. If you enjoyed that, keep coming back to the Shoo Rayner drawing channel on YouTube, and meantime, keep practicing, and drawing. And I'll see you next time. You take care now. Bye bye.